Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. You know, the Invisible Man was hospitalized. He was finally seen in ICU. Today, we're taking a look at Star Trek Star Realms from Wise Wizard Games. Star Trek Star Realms is a quick playing deck building game from Wise Wizard Games. Now, this plays 2 to 4 players, takes about 20 minutes to play, and it's really a retheming of Star Realms. So if you know how to play Star Realms, you know how to play this one. But what they did with this one is they just put the Star Trek theme on top of it. All right. Now, the original Star Realms, it had its 4 little races to it. Well, this one here, they decided to add the Federation, the Klingon, the Romulans, and the Dominion. Okay. So that way, it's really thematic game, but the cards are basically the same. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let me explain how to play this one, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, folks, if you know how to play Star Realms, you already know how to play this game. So I'm going to make this super brief. I'm just going to really highlight and cover just a couple things that there is. There's really 3 main phases of this game. Or 3 phases of the game. There's the main phase, the discard phase, and then your draw phase. Okay, like regular Star Realms, what you're going to do is you're going to have a hand of your 5 cards. You're going to play your cards down the table. You're going to do buy actions. You're going to do combat actions. And then you're basically going to discard those in the next player's turn. Each player is going to have 50 authority points. Once you can knock your opponent down to 0 authority points, you will win. But there's a couple things you're going to have to do along the ways. So let me go ahead and explain those for you really, really fast. I'm going to get my sheet out a little bit because I can't pronounce some of these names. So to set up the game, basically what you're going to do is you're going to put your mat right in front of you. You're going to take all the Decora class ships. You're going to put those off to the side. They're a 2-cost build ship that everybody can build as long as there's some in the row. Take all the cards from the 4 different factions, shuffle them all together, and then put them in their spot. And then you're going to put 6 cards out to buy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your starting ships, which is going to be, you're going to have, I believe it's 2 Raiders and 8 Scout ships. And that's going to be your hand. The Raider is going to give you 1 combat apiece. They're neutral cards. And then the Scouts are going to give you 1 buy apiece, and they're also neutral cards. They're the only neutral cards in the game. Everything else is going to be based off of one of the 4 factions. Okay, so on your turn, what you're doing is you're basically putting down all the cards that you have. Now, you don't necessarily have to put them down because some abilities may say discard a card or do something from a card from your hand. As long as you haven't activated that card or anything yet, it's still considered to be in your hand. You can discard it and do whatever and take that ability. Okay, so let me run you through a really, really fast turn, and then we'll get on to my thoughts. Okay, so what you're going to do is you can play a card from your hand. Just put it down on the table, do whatever it says. Now you're going to have some primary abilities in those cards, and you get to do whatever that primary ability is. And sometimes, if you have a synergy between another card and it shows an icon, if you have another card of that same icon out or a faction, you're going to be able to do that extra ability as well. If it has a trash can icon, it just means you can scrap that card, put it in the scrap pile. It's gone forever. But you get to do whatever that ability is. Maybe you scrap it, get 5 combat. Boom, you do 5 combat. Okay. So the other thing you're going to have too is you're going to have defense cards and outpost cards. And that's the main other thing you're going to have in this game. So you have your outpost cards. They're going to have a little red shield in the bottom right-hand corner. Now, when you put the outpost cards down, they're going to give you a card itself will give you ability, but your opponent cannot attack you to take your authority down until they get rid of that outpost first. And you have to do enough damage to thoroughly kill it. So if it is an outpost that's got a value of 5, they have to do 5 damage to it. Any more damage that they have accumulated, they can do to you or they can do to something else. Now you also have your defenses as well. They're just a little gray shield. They can actually do damage to those as well, as long as you don't have any outposts in play. Outposts will protect your defenses, and they will protect you yourself. Other than that, basically what it is if you have the little red combat icon, you're adding up all of those. If you have the trade icon, you're adding up all of those. And then you can take all those combats and you can divide those combats however you want. Assign them to outposts. Once those are gone, then you can either put it to the other person's defenses or the other person and just hit them directly. And you're going to take your trade, and then you can buy anything from the row up top. The number in the upper right-hand corner is how much it costs to buy. spend as much as you want. You can buy multiple cards. When you do buy a card from the road, then replace it before you buy any more, because you might find a better card than what's already out there. And that's it, folks. You're basically just playing those 5 cards, doing whatever you do, maybe drawing some more cards, scrapping some cards, discarding some cards, whittling your opponent down, trying to get his authority down to 0. He's trying to get your authority down to 0. But the first person to knock their opponent's authority down to 0 wins Star Trek Star Realms. All right, folks, there you go. That is a really high level of how to play this game. I think I pretty much covered all the rules other than some of the specialty things, because there's not a ton going on in this game. The original Star Realms, if you remember, was like in a small little box. It was just a bunch of cards, and that was about it. And realistically, there's not much more to this, okay? I want to say there's like 80, 90, there's a little over 110 cards or somewhere around that line. Not a super ton. But the thing is with this game here, there is so much gameplay inside this box. I love sitting down. I mean, this is a perfect 2-player game, because you sit down, you set this game up within a matter of a minute, and you're playing, okay? You have your starter deck. You have all 4 of the factions all put together in that center row, and you're just buying cards, and you're just trying to do whatever you need to do. Now, there's things you need to be really careful of. You really need to make sure that you get some of your defenses up, okay? There are some ships out there that can do a lot of damage, and you may want to buy those ships that do that lot of damage. All right. But the thing is if you don't have anything that's going to give you an outpost or any other defense, okay, they're just going to say, well, I'm just going to go attack your authority, because realistically, if you can get your opponent down, they may have 1 or 2 good rounds of stuff from those defense ships or whatever, or outposts, but you still got to be able to get them down. All right. You need to be able to buy those high value ships. You need to be able to buy, your different outposts. That way you're going to try to block yourself as well. But that's it. The way you play the game is really going to depend on what your opponent's doing. If your opponent's hitting you really, really hard for a lot of damage, well, yeah, you better get those defenses out. But if he's not hitting you for much damage, okay, you can try to do that the same. Definitely make sure that you have enough buy power. Always a benefit. Always very helpful. The scrapping ability. I love the scrapping ability in this game. One of the things with deck building games that's always frustrated me is you have this basic hand of cards and you can never get rid of them. The cool thing about this game is there are so many cards that actually have a scrap ability. And I'll tell you what, I try to scrap all of those basic cards from my hand as fast as I can. You're starting with 10, but if I can replace those 10 cards with 10 other cards, keep my deck lean and thin, I'm going through my deck really, really fast. I'm seeing a lot of my same cards come out more and more, and I get rid of that 1 combat, that 1 buy, and I'm replacing it for 3, 4, 5 combat, 2, 3, or 4 buy. So I'm doing a lot more with those cards. I love getting rid of those cards. Scrapping cards is one of my favorite types of cards to buy. Drawing more cards is one of my other favorite cards to buy, because then you're just going through your deck that much faster. So I absolutely love this game. It is a really fun 2-player game. I've never played it 3 and 4 player. I've never really had much of a desire to play this core game 3 and 4 players. To me, it's just a perfect 2-player game. You can play a game in 20 minutes, and it's just so much fun. It's great for starting an evening. It's great for finishing a game night. It's like you got a little bit of time to kill, stick it down, put it on the table, and play it. You know what? If you go to work and you work with some friends that play games and you have a 30-minute lunch hour, you can get a game of this in that 30-minute lunch hour. This game is absolutely fantastic for stuff like that. And I love this game because of that ability right there. Tell you what, if you like Star Realms and you like Star Trek, I highly recommend this game. If you just like small, quick 2-player deck building games, absolutely recommend this game 100%. This thing is fantastic, and I love this game, and I will always keep this game in my collection just because of that. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos that I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button and even click on that bell and be notified when I drop new videos. Also, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, I'll primarily do like some unboxings and some reviews. We'll do some playthroughs occasionally as well. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. I had to fire the guy that I hired to mow my lawn. He just didn't cut it.